Hello, this is Father Aaron Westman with the Glen Mary Home Missioners, and this is your Missioner Moment. My brothers and sisters, in the second reading from this weekend, we hear from Paul's letter to the Romans, and Paul reminds us of that very famous adage, what some people might call the golden rule, which is we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, to love our neighbors as ourselves. Now, this is part of the philosophical system of many religions. It's certainly at the very heart of Christianity that we are to love others, to sacrifice for them, to care for them, to give to them, to be there for them in their times of need. But what happens if we struggle to love ourselves? My brothers and sisters, I came across a staggering, disheartening statistic. And the statistic is that throughout this pandemic, 25% of young people between the ages of 18 and 24 have considered suicide during the pandemic. 25% have considered harming themselves. My brothers and sisters, this pandemic has been difficult for us all, and we've all struggled in different ways. And indeed, for some people, this struggle has been even worse, and it's driven them to the point where they're struggling to love themselves. I want to invite people out there. If you're struggling to love yourself, if you've considered harming yourself, if this pandemic has become too much, I invite you to reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Don't bear this burden by yourself. Talk to a counselor, a friend, somebody at your church. If you feel moved, call the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Reach out for help. I also invite us that if we're struggling to love ourselves, we can always turn to Jesus. For he promises us that if we turn to him, he will pour love into our hearts. And he will help us to love ourselves because he will help us to see ourselves as he sees us, as people of worth, of dignity, of importance and goodness, and as people worthy of his love and the love of others. Together, let us seek to love ourselves that we might love our neighbor.